let's back up a little bit and talk about your year of chaos and how you're coming out of it, because it so interested me, because my whole year of no thing, which is the impetus for this podcast,
hmm
was a result of my year of chaos, actually a few
Okay.
years of chaos. And I know
hmm
that you were caretaking for someone with Alzheimer's and dementia. I had experience with that as well. I had a family emergency, a major like family kind of tragedy, and a whole lot of things. And then a lot of
Yeah.
business stuff, a lot of my just not setting boundaries that led to a bunch of problems. And so
Mhm.
it was that like feeling of exhaustion and burnout and frustration and feeling stuck that led to my year of no. And so it kind of sounds like you're kind of going through a similar transition where you went through all this stuff
hmm
and this year of chaos, and then you decided to learn from it and pivot and make some major changes in your life. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Sure. Yeah. So the year of chaos, dementia, caring for my father, job, financial, the end of a relationship. It felt really overwhelming, and I got to a point where it's like, okay, I need to say no to a lot of things just to give myself the self-care that I need and I deserve. One nice upside about the pandemic is it's made me much more in tune of, oh, the world is a complete dumpster fire. I need to just kind of curl up and take care of myself. And if you'd asked me, like 5 or 6 years ago, I would say, nope, absolutely not. I don't have time for
Mm-hmm.
self-care. I was working for a very large company that had a very, go-getter sort of atmosphere. It's like you hustled all of the time. And I lost myself along the way,
Mm.
where it was just me, trying to be of service to my team, to the project. There was one project, this was early on in my career at this company. I kid you not, I was at the office for 20 hours straight.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I've done that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
software company, or at least I
I
was in the
like your
software
phrase of lose
division.
yourself. Like you do, those of us who are people pleasers
Mhm,
and makers and perfectionists, we will put in the 20
mhm,
hour, 18-hour day
mhm.
and lose ourselves. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that
That's
was,
rough.
yeah. And then that job, came to an end. I was excited. I finally got a meeting with my manager because he was impossible to get a hold of. And it's like, here, turn in your badge and your laptop. I'm like, what?
Oh wow.
It's like, come
Oh
on, really?
wow.
In hindsight, it actually turned out to be a really good thing. Outside of me, grieving the loss of, 10 years of my career where I was so invested. Like, I technically had a life outside of my job and my career, but sort of not really. I was always thinking about it in the back of my mind and learning those things about myself and really kind of recognizing that's where I was at. I am so, the other side of it now. There isn't a whole, after being there for a decade, losing that, and then going through the overall year of chaos, there isn't a whole lot that phases me anymore. I'm just like,
Hmm.
all right, I'm just going to breathe into this. And I am so good at my boundaries right now. It's like, yeah, no. My mom will call and she's like, hey, you want to do this thing? And we want to travel here and do this thing. And I'm like, gosh, no, thank you. But send me a postcard.
Yeah. So how did you get there though? I mean, that initial work where you're like, I know when I started my year of no, I very
hmm
honestly say it, the idea was I would say no to one thing every day. It
hmm
wasn't until like May that I was really doing it. Like because
hmm
it was so hard. I would feel nauseous and sweaty and anxious and, just it was very hard for me to step back and say, no, no, I don't need to do that, or it doesn't matter, whatever. What were the steps you took, or what were the initial feelings you had, or what was that process like for you to get to the point where you are now?
One of the upsides of having a year of chaos where there are multiple sources of things that cause stress is that you can take things, one at a time and say no to something one at a time.
Hmm.
So the job part, that actually was easy enough, that it took care of itself, it went away. And with the relationship, there was a lot of, okay, how do I, kind of sit down and get in touch with myself and with my feelings? I journal every day now. I didn't do that before the
Okay.
year of chaos. And every morning I go through and it's stream of consciousness. Sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's professional, sometimes it's writing, you've got this, 100 times,
Mhm.
kind of like, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, where he repeats that over and over again, or Bart Simpson writing on the chalkboard. It's like, I will write something over and over. And at the end of it, it's like, what am I saying yes to? What am I saying no to? What did I do yesterday that I'm really, really proud of? Like, I have those journal prompts. It's like every single day. And going through that really helped me to kind of crystallize. It's like, okay, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Where do I need comfort? I think it was about 6 months in, I went back and I read through my journal entries for the first 6 months so I could pull out themes. I'm like, oh, I have come a really, quite a ways. I decided that, how do I put this? Um, it was, I got to see how much progress that I'd made. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you're just sitting
That's
in the
right.
middle of it. It's like, oh, did I make progress? Go back and read your journal. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I made progress. So I think that really was a key part of
Yeah.
my journey.
That's a hard no.